Hello, fellow Star Wars fans, and welcome to Outer Rim transmission number 24. Begin transmission. Hi, Ben. Hi, Milton. How's everybody doing today?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having us on the podcast like always. Just ready to talk some Star Wars tonight.
Yeah, same here. I'm doing great. Ready to talk some Star Wars. We have a lot to get into.
Oh, yeah. So we have huge Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Remake. We'll be talking about that the latter half of the show, but we also have a new trailer for Star Wars or Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales, the brand new special coming out on October 1st. Plus, we have a poster to look at for Star Wars Visions coming out in just under a couple weeks here. And a lot of releases we're going to talk about off the top of the show here. So, a lot to get into today. This is like the equivalency of having like 6 months of Star Wars news, like back in the old days, right? like the amount of news we're talking about tonight is something that would have been spread over like a several month period, and we're getting it in literally a week, and it all drops like in the back half of the week for the most part. It's like, okay, this is what we got going on. So we're gonna get through of course, as we always do, our weekend Star Wars. I'm gonna start off tonight because I have a couple things I want to mention. The first I was mentioning is about this podcast called Vic's Basement. He is Victor Lucas that used to be on Electric Playground back in the day on G4, big gaming guy. He does a lot of reviews and whatnot. And he has a podcast, and he happened to have Sam Witwer and David W. Collins on for his podcast. Let's see. It was called An Epic Star Wars Chat with Sam Witwer and David W. Collins. And it was really cool because David W. Collins does the audio for most of the Star Wars things that have come out in the last like 3 or 4 years. And he's always heavily involved with the animation. He was actually involved with obviously Bad Batch. So there's a lot of cool like behind the scenes and just like from a creative perspective on like the fan community and how the fan reaction to certain episodes was, it was really interesting like getting an inside look at like how he from like Lucasfilm kind of responds to some of the criticism that we even had on certain episodes of the show. So I thought it was really a good listen because we're getting that introspective look at things. And, he's talking especially about how certain characters like Omega resonate and certain episodes like Infested have to exist for certain reasons, even though I still was like, I mean, you could have held that for another season, but you can't have like bam, bam, bam every single episode. I do agree. There's got to be kind of a way to weigh things out a little bit. So it was just a really great listen, about an hour and a half. So definitely go ahead and check that out. And another cool occurrence I had out in the wild today, I was at my one job, or actually not today, but later or earlier on in the week, we had a customer at a store. He had a interesting tattoo on his leg. I asked him about it, and he turned all around, and I seen all the characters of, well, not all the characters because there's hundreds, but several characters of Star Wars were tattooed on this gentleman that had to be at least 75 years old. He had really...
That is awesome.
Yeah, this guy was like, because you don't see that often is people that are elderly having tattoos, and the way that this guy's tattoos look, they're all on the lower half of his, like his calf basically. He had C-3PO, which stood out to me, and that's why I asked him, is that Star Wars? And he had Boba Fett, he had Darth Vader, but it was a cool Darth Vader version where it was like the Macquarie like angular helmet. He had Yoda. I think he had Leia on there, but it was all like very vibrant colors and just really artistically done. I told the guy, I was like, that's awesome. If I ever was going to get a tattoo, I'd probably get a Star Wars tattoo. So, but because even at Star Wars Celebration, they have like a specific place called the Tattoo Pavilion. And they have like the best Star Wars tattoo artists like across the world that go there, and literally like people plan out in weeks ahead of time, like talking to these people, and they'll get it done like right at the convention. And I like walk through, and you can actually watch one of my videos of me with my vlog where I actually did like walk slowly through and just like seeing people literally getting tattooed on the spot. So even myself not having tattoos, I greatly appreciate just looking at them. And I've been talking a heck of a lot, so I'm gonna throw it over to you guys. Do you have any experiences with like seeing really cool Star Wars tattoos, or knowing anybody that has some really cool Star Wars tattoos at all?
I mean, I've seen a couple around. I mean, I have two tattoos myself, but not anything of Star Wars. I never brought myself to that nature yet to get a Star Wars tattoo put on me. I think it has to be something that's very unique when it comes to Star Wars, if I'm ever going to do that. Like I know the artist that's done actually did my forearm tattoo. She has a couple. I know she's done like
Oh,
the Rebel and Empire symbols on
cool.
people. Um, Again, like I usually see a lot of those. I've never seen any type of like portrait
Yeah.
or anything that's so sophisticated to that nature. It's usually like some type of like logo within Star Wars or maybe like a character, but I've never seen a portrait done yet. That'd be kind of interesting to see what type of time and effort and what designs people will be willing to go through or even put I guess the effort in to even figure something out. But no, never seen nothing to that extent. That's crazy. That guy must be really dedicated to Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some crazy tattoos in general on people, but yeah, nothing to that extent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
the only thing I've really seen, I've seen one really cool one. I've seen, like Milton, like you've said, Milton, I've seen plenty of like the Rebel logos or the Empire logos or things like that. But the only really cool one I saw was back when I was it was either in high school or it might have been my first year of college. When we went to Virginia Beach, there was a guy, I don't know, probably in his 40s, I would say. But like on his like his entire right like shoulder, and down like his back part of like the left side of his back, it was literally like the movie poster,
Huh.
like literally the main characters from the A New Hope movie poster, like the original one with Luke holding the lightsaber over
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
head. Like it was that original one, like down the left side of his entire back. And that was like the coolest like that's definitely one of the coolest tattoos I've ever seen. Like it's up there. But that's the only really like crazy one because like I remember like, because the guy was, only like 4 or 5 towels away from us. And I literally stopped and was like, "Hey, can I look at your tattoo on your back? Like, is that a Star Wars one?" And he's like, "Yeah, it is. Check it out." And I was like, "What the heck?" Like, like you guys said, like, I was like, that is some crazy dedication. Like putting like the actual like movie poster down the left side of your back like that. It was wild to see it, but amazing. And like I said, I'm not a tattoo person myself, but I appreciate like how artistic they are, and it's awesome when people get them and they're really interesting, or even if they're not like super flashy, as long as they have like a good meaning behind them, or hey, if they want to just get them, like cool. But I can appreciate the art with that tattoos bring.
Heck yeah. So, what about you guys? We'll start off with Milton. What was your week in Star Wars? Do you have any cool occurrences or see anything neat that you bought or anything like that?
I didn't buy anything myself. However, I did send you guys a picture, I think last weekend. Yeah, I sent you guys a picture last weekend. My sisters, they like to go thrift shopping, and they just love that. They'll find anything
Yep.
out there. And for my birthday this year, they got me two particular pictures. One, if you're a sports fan, it's Muhammad Ali. Um, just looking over one of his opponents. It's this famous picture of him looking at an opponent that's on the ground and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm thinking that's it. Like a week later, which was last week, they were like, hey, we got you something else. We forgot to give it to you. And it's of Luke, Leia, and Han. It's a framed picture of Luke, Leia, and Han
Huh.
from, I think it's the Glove of Darth Vader book, or it might have been one of the trilogy novels. But it's a picture of and I wish I had it in front of me right here, but it's pretty badass. Like I was legit like hype, and I was like, man, like just looking at that particular artwork, and I believe Drew Struzan probably like either he drew this picture or like it was someone was inspired from his like posters,
Okay.
but it was pretty. I mean, it was pretty badass. And you guys seen the picture? I sent it to you last week. I was just very impressed that my sisters they know how much I love Star Wars, and they always like to look for stuff like that for me. So it's nice to know that they love their big brother, and it's a framed picture I have in my house. I need to find a place to put it eventually.
Yeah, that was really
That
cool how you showed us the pictures of your current office and all that. I was like, wow,
Yeah,
there's some good organization going on there. Like just the way
yeah,
everything's
yeah.
laid out.
That's another thing. I didn't even. Thanks for bringing it up. No, right? Because like I just have that Boba Fett helmet sitting there on my desk. It's like on my top shelf. I have a Luke and a Ahsoka Black Series still in the box on my office, and then I have a certified Jedi Knight certificate, which I got like 10 years ago. So the story behind that was my buddy's dad became like an ordained minister online for like $15 or whatever it is. And so one day he decided to do that for me for a birthday gift. He's like, "Hey, I got something for you." And he had it framed in that picture of like, he's like, "Oh, you're a certified Jedi now." I was like, "That's kind of cool." Like,
That's
so
awesome.
I was like, "All right." So like I said, I just figured I'd give you guys a little peek behind the curtain of what my office looks like. It's like I'll never grow up, so it's going to be nerd stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. You can't ever grow up, right? Star Wars is
Oh no,
eternal.
yeah.
What about you,
Oh,
Ben?
yeah.
Anything?
The only thing I really saw that made me laugh this week, I wish I would have saved it, but God, it's long gone now. It's just a Twitter meme. But I saw someone post a Twitter meme. As people know, who listens to this show or watches this show, like we're all sports fans here. And I saw someone post this meme about the Patriots, and it was actually, they cut up the scene from episode 3 where Grievous is talking to Sidious, saying, "What about the loss of Count Dooku?" And Sidious is like, I found a new apprentice, a younger one. And on Sidious's face, though, it was Belichick. On Grievous's face, it was Robert Kraft. And then on the side of the picture was Mac Jones, instead of Tom Brady. And I was laughing so much. I was like, that's amazing.
My gosh.
But like that was the only like Star Wars thing I really saw this week that it gave me a good laugh, because I was like, that's so great. But yeah, that was kind of my little week in Star Wars, just seeing a real funny meme mixing the two things I like, Star Wars and sports.
Yeah, eventually until we get that consumer rated deep fake that anybody could use. That's gonna have to do for now. All right, so we're gonna roll into the proper show for Outer Rim transmission number 24. As always, you guys can either listen to us on any podcast streaming service, whether it be Apple, Google, or Spotify and more. Just search Outer Rim transmission and do subscribe and give us a shout out on Apple with a review, and same with Google. And if you're listening there at those places, we also do this live every Friday, so you can feel free to join us and join in on the discussion, and you can chat with us live. So we go live every Friday at 9 o'clock. So there you go, and prepare yourselves, because there has been a lot of Star Wars releases this week. I don't even want to tell you guys how much money I spent on some of these publishing. I probably spent over $100 on Star Wars stuff this week. And it, you figure like, okay, maybe they'll kind of like put some stuff here out this week, wait a couple weeks, no, they just dumped everything on one day. And it's like, or basically 1 or 2 days. I'm like, oh, this is going to hurt my wallet, but I do it for you guys and for my own entertainment anyway. So I'll spend the money, whatever. So the first thing we have is the Essential Legends Collection. A couple months back, we talked about how there was Shatterpoint, Heir to the Empire, as well as Bane, Path of Destruction. Now we had 4 more books this week that came out in that Legends Collection, which I really have been enjoying, how they're kind of like putting these really, really highly regarded books and having it out there for the public, and re-releasing Legends books, which is really neat. They're all curated, right? So these are the books that people mostly talk about for the most part. Yeah, there's rumors that there's going to be maybe a Kenobi and a Dark Plagueis and stuff like that. But for the Essential Collection that we got on Tuesday, I actually have a couple of them here with me right now, so I'll show you guys real quick. We got, let's see, Dark Force Rising. So there we go. So I like the covers a lot, because they're all pretty uniform, and the spine shows like, part 1 of the Thrall trilogy over here. Let's see. They also got The Last Command, which is cool because it has like the dark Luke in the red with the Mara Jade.
Yeah,
there
that's
at the
awesome.
Saber.
Hey, that cover's tight.
Yeah, man. So I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, but maybe. So I could try to show you guys all these books at the same time, because it's cool when you put them all together.
I was like, people, you definitely know this is live.
Yeah.
There we
There we
go.
go. That's dope.
Well, actually, on the camera, it looks well. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that looks
You
good.
know what though? It reminds me. Do you remember those steel books they came out with for the movies?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that because like
Yeah,
I mean how they
that
center on
is
like
sweet.
each character. That's pretty BA. Like it's amazing how like Star Wars just the particular art form when it comes to like them doing covers for posters or books. It's second to none. I mean, either whether it's Legends, current canon, or whatnot, like they just know how to catch a fan or catch a Randy or random person when it comes to the way they publish their books and how they can gravitate someone's eyes to a cover of a book. Those three books right there, even though they're very popular novels and people always remember them, just those covers right there tells a lot about the story itself. And if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, like
Mm-hmm.
it pulls you into wanting to read them.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yep. Go ahead,
yeah.
Ben.
The covers of the Star Wars books. I mean, uniformly, those ones you just showed us, Chris, and like as we even mentioned last week on several of the other books we've read, canon, not canon, whatever it may be. Heck, even look at some of the magazines, like from like the different magazines, like the Empire magazine, like things like that. Like the covers of Star Wars, just in general, like in all of their mediums, are always spot on. I feel like no matter what it is.
Yeah, and so I'm actually planning on reading the Thrawn trilogy eventually. As we have discussed earlier on the channel in one of the prior episodes, like all signs are pointing to a revisioned Thrawn trilogy via the Mandalorian, right? I mean, we got Thrawn, now we're getting this Mount Tantus stuff in the last episode of Bad Batch. So there, like we talked about this before, there's a reason why they're picking and curating these specific books from Legends, because I have a strong feeling that each one of these books is going to be having elements putting into the canon, right? Mace Windu is going to have to show up somewhere, putting Shatterpoint there out of nowhere.
Yep.
And we also got the unabridged version of Rogue Squadron. And I had the pleasure of listening to this working out the gym today. And it's also because it's all fully narrated now. Before, I guess it was just bits and pieces. So this is all done, voiced by Mark Thompson. This is my first ever Mark Thompson voiced narrated audiobook. Because last time it was Sullivan Jones that did the Shatterpoint Mace Windu novel, which he did a really great job with that. So I'm diving into, as I said before, I'm diving into the Legends universe for like the first time in like freaking a decade, probably or whatever. And we're gonna definitely talk a lot about Legends later on in the show, by the way. So stick around for that. But it's neat being able to experience these stories through an audio form, whereas I'm predominantly a book reader. So it's nice being able to multitask and all that. Yeah, what's up?
How about that, actually, Chris? So now that you were listening to Mark Thompson narrate, give us your impressions on how the book feels to you and how it reads.
Well, as far as a
Because
Rogue
Mark
Squadron
Thompson does a
book,
lot of the books.
yeah, for Rogue Squadron, it works really well because that's the reason why I wanted to do an audiobook, because it's all dogfighting, right? The first chapter is basically this new character that I've never heard of called Corran Horn. And people are probably like throwing their headsets on the ground, like, how does he know Star Wars? Doesn't know this character? Because sorry, I just don't read the Legend stuff a whole lot. I've might have heard his name in the X-Wing game that I play every once in a while, but I didn't know the significance of this character. But anyway, so they're doing like a pre-programmed like flight simulator, and you hear like the TIE fighter sounds, you hear the proton torpedo sounds, you hear the music, and they're sweeping in with like some prequel era music, which is really interesting because this book came out in like 1996. But oh yeah, like and just with the different characters, like even Mark Thompson, like he voices like a Gand alien, which is the same kind of alien that Zuckuss, the bounty hunter from Empire Strikes Back, voices. Like this guy's all over the place when he comes to being able to just like sound like a completely different person, which is just so impressive how this guy is able to actually do this like time and time again. It's not like he just does like one book every year. Like he's doing basically like 90% of the books from what I imagine. And recently like Del Rey's been churning out like a book every month or two. So it's crazy to me.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to hear that you really enjoy him because, like I said, he does majority of the books. Him and was it Jonathan Davis? Is that the other one, Ben?
Yeah, he was
Yep.
actually in that audio drama that I read or listened to,
Yes.
Tempest Runner, which was
Yeah.
great.
So
By
like
the way.
those two guys are the best. I mean, Mark Thompson, I think he does the Plagueis novel too, which
wow,
I
he's-
start. Yeah, go
Oh
ahead.
no, I was just gonna throw in there real quick. Man, I just looked it up. He's actually pretty young. He's only 50 years old.
Yeah, he's been around. Like I'm saying, he's been doing this for what? 20 plus years. So it's
Probably.
like,
Yeah.
and like I said, I'm even looking right now at some of the books on my iTunes thing. Like I'm pretty sure he reads Plagueis, and so I started listening to that again, and it still holds up. I mean, I
Damn.
feel like I'm listening or watching a movie in my head. Like it's bizarre
Yeah.
how he sets the narrative.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it really felt that way, especially with the dog fights. Like
Yeah,
he's like narrating this corn horn, like the TIE bombers on my back, and then I put up my deflector shields behind me, and I
yeah,
instantly thought I was inside the Star Wars Squadrons game in VR.
yep.
Like that's what I was imagining, like driving home from work today, is he's explaining all this stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, like they literally pulled everything out of this book for the Squadrons games, because you could do literally all the stuff he was explaining, like shifting the power from the lasers to the aft deflector shields, and then shunting the damage of the TIE fighter so it like spirals out of control. I'm like, holy crap, this is great. And then I, just for fun, I looked up, like, when did the Rogue Squadron video game come out? The Rogue Squadron video game for the N64 didn't come out until 1998, so this actually
Yep.
predates the book. Actually predates. I had no idea. I thought the book or the game came out first. So that's all news to
Yeah,
me.
the game came out. Yeah, it was 98, 99. Because I remember getting it when I was a kid. That's what I'm saying. That's why when I saw it again, I had to buy it because
Yeah,
those games were so like it's so dope.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's
And
crazy.
this is a post Return of the Jedi story,
Mhm.
and I th- hmm, I would like it to be, post the Rise of Skywalker, but man, I feel like maybe it's gonna be post Return of the Jedi, the movie in 2023. We'll see. And it's worth mentioning that there's also one other book that came out just for the Essential Legends collection. I'm just talking about Essential Legends collection. We have a lot more to go, so buckle up. But we also have the second book in the Bane trilogy, um, which is called Not the Path of Destruction. And I actually do not have the book on me right now, so I do not know the title of it, but just know that the second book in the Bane trilogy has also been released. So there you go. Moving on, we have the Life Day Treasury book. So this is a really interesting idea because it's written by Kevin Scott and George Mann with artwork by Grant Griffin, and that was sort of the team that did the Dark Legends books as well as the Myths and Fables books, which are a collection of short stories. And the Life Day Treasury is all about, as you would have guessed it, Life Day. So you have like
Mhm.
holiday tales in Star Wars. So some stuff about like an abominable snowman on Endor, like the one day it actually snowed there. You have stuff on Jeddah where they're like doing this reflection holiday. So it's interesting because like Life Day sparks from Kashyyyk, and then other cultures on other planets kind of like take their own meaning of what Life Day is and like give it their own name, but still celebrate it like in the colder winter months if they have any such season like that. So it's really interesting because we get to look at like different things on Tatooine. The huts have a certain holiday that it's all about, banding together as far as like not actually fighting each other for a change. So it really reflects like a lot of like brotherly love, like Life Day in general. So it's kind of cool, like getting light-hearted stories that aren't about like, because the Dark Legends and the Myths and Fable books that were made were sometimes they ended on like kind of a downer or like, ooh
Right.
man, that was like, ooh. But so each one of these stories like ends in like, oh, that's like a nice warm kind of feeling, like you would think of like Christmas or something, like the way these stories end. So definitely recommend picking up Life Day Treasury, and it's got a really cool cover too, by the way. Um,
I'll
yeah.
be right back, guys. I got to go run and grab a package from the front door. This is live.
Yeah.
There we go. But I was like, this is cool because this opens the door, right, to like new Star Wars holidays. Like I know the only one we really have is like Life Day. There might be like some other obscure one, but I like the idea of like releasing like a Star Wars kind of Christmas book, holiday book every single year. I feel like that's just easy cash for Disney to make, and they could just like
Mhm.
do this almost every year with a different planet. So
I mean, they could. I mean, and that wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, obviously, it's going to be they're going to think about, can we get the audience to buy into the book and purchase it and invest into the characters, which I mean, I'm sure they'll do their research and figure that out. Um, I mean, obviously, that'd be a great opportunity for them to character build, I guess, or just like expand on different or new characters. If they want to say, hey, let's touch on the character here in the Christmas book, like I see here, and let's put him in like one of our main movies eventually, like as a cameo or just a small character. So that's the Life Book one.
Yeah, this is the Life Day Treasury. It's
Okay,
cool.
yeah,
It's got
like
it's
that.
got yeah, it's got Stellan Geos on there from the High Republic tale. So he's on Coruscant. And they
Okay,
celebrate something called Solstice. And
yeah.
apparently Coruscant, I thought this was an interesting fact. Coruscant has like their own weather system. Like
Yes, yes, they do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really
yeah. That's
interesting thing.
that's been that's been in canon, or not. I mean, I guess it's legend. A lot of it's legends, but like it might be in canon. I guess now, technically with that book, I'm assuming that's canon, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess they took it from legends because I know in the Darth Plagueis novel they talk about the artificial weather. Um, yeah, I mean, and it makes sense because think about it, like it's a city planet, so they're going to have to simulate rain, snow, hurricanes, whatever they decide to do. But I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, and we also have another brand new thing for the Star Wars universe is a manga. So we actually have this is a High Republic story here,
Okay.
and this is called The Edge of Balance Volume 1. And it's pretty neat, right? Cuz like I'm not used to manga at all, but like if I just show you a couple quick glances of the artwork here.
Oh,
Um
that's tight.
yeah, it's really neat. Like I actually really enjoyed this thing. I just put up the review like I think it went live on YouTube today at some point. So you guys can check out my
Yeah,
concise thoughts
I'm
on
not
that.
really, I'm not really a manga guy. I mean, I know about the Dragon Ball Z mangas as a kid. Um, Now, especially with like Star Wars, because I think with Visions, I think we'll get a lot of that feel with a lot of the Vision episodes when they come out. Which I'm curious about it and also excited because I feel like it's going to be a show which I think can help this particular property of the manga like